Welcome in, everybody. Mailbox Sports Postman 1914, and we have some surprising off-field news involving one of the league's more notable or bigger quarterbacks in the league, Dak Prescott and his fiancee Sarah Jane Ramos. Apparently called off their wedding just weeks before it was supposed to happen in Italy. Now, one, Italy's a pretty snazzy place to have a wedding. Two, it's just weeks away, so one might ask, what could make a person call off a wedding that is less than a month away, especially when we have such a lovely destination wedding in Como, Italy? I guess today we got to figure out exactly what's going on here, and I say that because the couple has two daughters, I believe MJ, and we will get to the other baby's name just in one moment. But they were planning a destination wedding in Lake Como, uh, and suddenly the engagement's off. So today we get to break down, not like a huddle, but we're gonna break down what happened, what the rumors say happened, I should say, and what the couple actually confirmed. What this might mean moving forward for Dak Prescott, I don't know, but we do know that the Cowboys are known for loving to have headlines. Not certain that this is the headline that they want to go to circulate around uh, Jerry World, but Jerry loves all good press, and I can't be mad at him. So if you like good drama and good NFL content, go ahead and hit that like button right now as we get right into the timeline of their relationship. Uh, because to understand the breakup, we got to kind of break it down just a bit so we can see how we got here. So again, Dak and Sarah Jane Ramos met in 2023 September, or at least they became public around that time. And in that particular stretch of time, things moved rather quickly. Their first daughter, like I said, Margaret Jane, MJ Rose, was born 2024 in February. So they became public in September of 23. Yet a baby was born in February 24. So they were already involved. They just made it public at that particular time. Uh, Later that year, Dak did propose in October of 2024. So it appears that September, October is the time in which Dak and Sarah Jane like to do things. Uh, their second daughter, Aurora Rain, and Dak's name is Dakota Rain. So go figure that one out. She arrived in May 2025. So roughly 2.5 years of time, the couple went from dating, being exclusive, to having two kids and planning a wedding in Italy. That wedding, again, like I said, was scheduled to be in Lake Como, Italy, April 10th. But the couple recently informed all of their guests that it indeed has been canceled. One could only wonder what would have something like this happen. Well, this is what reportedly happened. According to the reports, the breakup that took place during their bachelor and bachelorette party is not the reason in which things happened to come apart. In fact, they had been at odds for the last several months leading up to the wedding. So let's say Christmas, New Year's Eve, a lot of dissension in the ranks, a lot of chaos going on. I don't know if the gifts hit the same way, but they say that things were going a bit sideways, for lack of a better term, right then. Sources say that a shouting match ensued at their joint bachelor and bachelorette party, and the very difficult decision to end the relationship was shortly thereafter confirmed. It also says that the couple did, at least to the wedding guests and people that were involved, did send out a message confirming that they have indeed called off the wedding. And I think the split is more complicated than most things would be because, as I stated, the couple shares two young daughters. And so now co parenting will be the issue at hand. Dak is a professional athlete. I'm not certain what Sarah Jane Ramos does for a living, but representatives for Ramos says that she is heartbroken, but she is committed to the joint venture of co parenting and raising the kids together. My question would be, in that instance, would Sarah Jane retain custody of the children in this breakup? Would it be something that Dak would pursue to have full time custody of his daughters moving forward? Who knows? But the alleged argument was said to be over a prenuptial agreement. That prenuptial agreement uh, is said to be a safeguard and something that puts in place for everybody that has any access or anything like that when it comes into a union or a wedding between two people. At the same time, you do have to wonder, do NFL or any athlete for that matter, should they always have prenups? Uh, Massive contract, small contract, fringe contract. Should an athlete that is attempting to marry a young lady or a gentleman, if we got WNBA players that want to go ahead and have those nuptials, should there be a prenup in place to safeguard both parties in that instance? I think that question in itself will have us divided at times, but it also gives us an opportunity to understand exactly what preset limits could be crossed if we don't come up with those types of things. As now we're talking about custody and things like that that have to be sorted out. Those are the types of situations that could be discussed at length when we speak of prenuptial agreements. Nonetheless, the biggest rumor to date is that the breakup did happen because of a prenuptial agreement dispute. And that rumor picked up steam mainly, in my estimations, because Dak just recently signed a $240 million contract with the Dallas Cowboys. At that particular point, people would obviously think that finances play a role. But if we were to go at it as far as the inverse or an opposing particular thought when it comes to why, according to Sarah Jane Ramos, allegedly, the breakup had nothing to do with a prenup, but in her particular explanation, she intimates that infidelity and rampant cheating is the reason in which her and Dak won't be tying the knot. I would have questions about that because they have two children. They have been together for 2.5 years. And one would have to think that if he is a rampant cheater, this is not the first time that you have crossed this particular situation. And if this were to be the case, why then would marriage still be an option? And why would a person uh, continue to hang around and procreate if, in fact, this particular situation has been so rampant? Because I don't think it's just been a cheating started this year. So, with that being said, right now, the official line is simply that the couple says it didn't work out. We have many different ways to look at it, but the couple, to respect their wishes in terms of the actual reasons, those things will come out for us. But obviously, we want to know, why would a situation like this get so much attention in the sports world? Few reasons it blows up in sports media. Timing. This wedding happened to be taking place, like I said, April 10th. So that's less than a month away. And at this very time, we call off a wedding for a pretty well known professional NFL quarterback. They do have two children. So that particular situation would have you focus in a bit more. But as I stated, the overall and overarching reason that we get to discuss anything that would revolve around a prenuptial agreement or infidelities would be that Dak is a profile, a high profile quarterback. He is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and arguably that may be the most high profile position or franchise in the NFL. So when a franchise quarterback such as Dak has any situation unfold publicly, it immediately becomes what I would classify as sport and celebrity news at the same time. And when you talk about the modern sports world of media, the Cowboys tend to get pretty much rotation and attention for everything. And it tends to get amplified whenever we talk about anything that deals with the Cowboys. Don't know why. It's just the way it is. They have been America's team since I was a young boy. I don't think that really changes in terms of the perceptions. But what could those things mean for us moving forward? For Dak, it obviously just tries to grasp understanding as to whether or not he'll be able to maintain stability off the field and continue to lead the Cowboys on the field. Quarterbacks are typically under a very scrutinized microscope. Personal stories like this can become a part of a narrative, and if for any given reason the season goes awry, Dak has a less than stellar season, there will be nothing more than rampant speculation. See Jessica Simpson and Tony Romo for details when I speak about anything that happens in a life of a Dallas Cowboy quarterback. Those stories actually become a part of the player's career. Uh, Everything being reported so far, both Prescott and Ramos, however we pronounce it, would be seem to be focused solely on raising their children and keeping things respectful. But in the upcoming months, I am almost certain that we will be able to unfold, unpack, and give a bit more personal detail or account to how these things go. A relationship that moved pretty quickly, was headed in the right direction in terms of establishing a family, having a nuclear family dynamic, and being able to uh, provide the best life for their daughters. It's something that obviously ended weeks before the ceremony, and that is something that is quite unfortunate. Nonetheless, we still don't know the full story, and honestly, we may never know all of the details. One thing can be clear when I say this, and we will say this: this story or the major off-season story around Dak and the Cowboys, it won't die down. In fact, if anything, like I said, comes into fruition to be negative in any way, shape, or form when it comes to the actual on-field play of the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott will be essentially thrown to the wolves and his feet held to the fire as if his personal life is not allowed to take place. Not much that we can speculate, but there are things that we can kind of assert and understand when it comes to a situation like this. But let me know what you think in the comments. Were you surprised by this particular breakup? Myself personally, I think that if without the prenuptial agreement, it was bound to not go the way that it would be ideally thought of. So it is something that is a shocker to see that it is over so soon and it wasn't something that they were able to rectify. Uh, do you think that this type of off-field distraction will matter because it is in fact the off season? It's not the regular season. This happened uh, August, September, maybe even October or something like that. Playoff push, anything like that mid-season, I could understand it being a bit more amplified. At the same time, do you think personal situations like this can and will affect a quarterback and Dak in particular in this particular situation? Who knows what's going on today? It's been a long day at work, but uh, if you want more content that would delve into the lines of sports drama and controversy, hit that like button. Drop the comments below. Do you think that the Cowboys and Dak Prescott can rebound from this proverbial sack? Let me know what you think. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, in between time, this is Postman 1914. And until next time, and until next delivery, this is Mailbox Sports, Postman 1914. We out of this thing, baby.